Started. So now I just we will take a look at how to connect to the SQL Server database. Okay, here I have already created the SQL Server database. Okay, create database in SQL Server SSMS. Up to this we have seen it. Sanoj, you remember the SQL Server, right? How to create database, everything we have seen it, right? How to load the file from the Excel file into SQL Server. Do you remember that, Sanoj Kumar? Yes, good. Okay, SQL Server. You use. Anyhow, we will take quick look at once again because too much of gap has happened. So this is what your SQL Server. So how did you get the SQL Server name here? One second. Let me just go here and I already clicked on it. It takes some time because if I look here, this is what your when you open the SSMS, it will show the SQL Server name. Okay, forget about other things. Okay, so here this one's supposed to be database engine. That is the default one. Don't change it. However, you just take a look at it. Sometimes what will happen, they use something else and then they say it is not working and all. Okay, make sure that you have database engine and this one, everything is, the values get picked up automatically. We don't have to do anything. However, you make sure that this database engine Windows authentication fine and right click on it, copy this one. And then I'm going to click on connect here in the SQL Server. And also, right, what I do is, this is what, since I remember it, I just typed it. Okay. So, okay. So, and here I just say sales database. This database, I already created it. Okay. I'm using an import mode. Okay. And I just click on this one. The database name is sales. The default connectivity mode is import. Okay. For the SQL Server. And here I just select import. I just select customer location, these two dimension tables. And I'll just show you the data files also, the location, because currently, though our website has been recovered, you can still go ahead and download. See, this is GitHub. In the GitHub, all the files are available in this location. Okay. So what you need to do is how to download it from this GitHub. If I share the link in the chat window, you just save it. Okay. And once you type it in your URL, it will take you here. Okay. It will display all the data files that are available in the data files, report files, PDF files, everything. Here you can see code here, right? So I just open the Epic Pen. Okay, here you can see the code. Just click on the drop down next to the code. And if you see here, a download zip is there. Okay, click on download zip. All these file will get downloaded and then it will get zipped as something Power BI main.zip. Okay, and here what I do is I just say I'll create some meaningful name here and here full stack Power BI course. You can save it here. Once you unzip that file in that folder, all the files, and including the PBX file will, that is available there. You can download it. Okay. Okay. So, okay, here, once you download it, you load the Excel file data into SQL Server, like how I demonstrated. Once the data get loaded from the Excel to your table, okay, now the data is available in table. Okay, you just think that way. So dim customer, dim location. That is how we have loaded there. We have used an Excel file data, and then we loaded the data into SQL Server. These two, these tables got created, okay, automatically, okay. Fine. The next one is, this is your import connectivity mode. Okay, and if you go to the model view, you can see the table, you can see the table here. And the next one is, I just quickly click on the SQL Server. Now what we will do is we will connect with so not this one, direct connection mode. Instead of using import mode, I'm going to click on the direct query and click on OK here. And here I just select the sales fact. The sales fact table, now I have connected with the direct query mode. Because usually the fact table will have huge volume of the data. 1 second, I hit the load button. So only the metadata of this table will get loaded here. Look here, the sales fact got loaded here. Sundar join பண்ணிட்டீங்களா? Sales fact table. Okay, so two tables we have we have imported it from our SQL Server, and this table we have used the direct connection mode. Okay, direct query connection mode. In this case, the sales fact, if you select it, you will not find any data here because we have used the direct query connection mode. And for these to import, we have used the import connectivity mode. Hence, the data got loaded locally into my Power BI desktop, or the data got loaded on premises local server. So okay, now if I go to the model view, and if I click on this double arrow, right, so it will get collapsed, the properties thing. And if you see the sales fact table, and the what difference we can see here is what difference we can see here is all the three are from SQL Server table. All these three tables are from SQL Server table. But this table, on top of this table, we can see the blue colored line. So this tells us this is a direct query mode. These two are import mode. But to confirm that, if you hover the cursor here, it tells you, okay, what is the name of the table and what kind of storage mode. Is that import? So when the data got refreshed. So today is 15, right? 15 Jan 2023 by 6/11. We have loaded this data here, imported. Same thing is here, including date, time. What date and time the data we loaded here. Okay. And the sales fact also the same thing, but only difference is the storage mode shows as direct query. Okay. And I'm going to use another thing here, SQL Server. Here, yeah, so since you joined little late, Sundar, you just concentrate here. Even if you concentrate from now, you will be able to understand. Okay, desktop -8 KBB DN3 SQL Express and yes, sales database. So this time also I'm going to go ahead with the direct query. I just hit the OK button. So it shows us all the tables that are available under my sales database. Okay. So we have imported customer and location. This time I'm going to use the dim product dimension table. I'm going to hit the load button. It will take for a while to load the product dimension table into our Power BI desktop. Since I've used the direct connection mode, like sales fact table, the data will not get loaded in my local Power BI desktop. Okay. Instead, only the metadata will get loaded. So what do you mean by metadata? The table name, the column names, these are called your metadata. And then the relationship also. Okay. We'll see what is relationship later. Don't worry. Okay. And here, look at the dim product. If you scroll towards your right side again, but even dim product and sales fact, if you keep the cursor or hover the cursor here, you can see that the storage mode was direct query. So this dim product, I'll just show you one more thing. There are 3 types of storage mode. Sorry, 4 types of storage mode. One is the import. The other one is the direct query. And apart from this, we have live connection mode. Okay, live connection mode. Okay, and besides this, we have something else called dwell mode. Dwell mode is, it will work as import as well as a direct query mode. So for example, right, so in this case, what is the storage mode? Direct query. Direct query, right? So when you keep the cursor over here, it shows us the table name, dim product on the right side. Okay, storage mode, direct query, data source type SQL Server database, and then what is the server name and the database name, server name, database name. Okay, fine. So now what I do is I just click on the double arrow here, properties. I just expand this, and if I selected this table, okay, dim product, and then I clicked on it here, and if I see here, yes, dim product, table properties it shows, and if I scroll down a bit, then you will find something called advanced here. When you click on the advanced, and if you scroll down here, you will find the storage domain. So currently it shows us the storage mode is direct query for the dim product table. Okay, product dimension table. Okay, and here is there any way if I can change it to import or dual? We have something called dual also available here. So from this, what you can understand is the direct query connection. For those table you have used it, you can convert it to import mode, or you can convert to dual mode. So dual is it can serve as both the import as well as the direct query mode. Now let us see what exactly dual mode. Got it? On top of the table, we can see the dotted lines. So this, look here, if you hover the cursor here, when you see the dotted line, you can understand, okay, this is a dual storage mode. So import mode, these two table, one second, these two table we have connected with the import mode, and this one is dual mode, and this is the direct mode, direct query mode. Understood? So import, direct query mode, and then you have dual mode, plus we have something else called live connection mode. That we will see it later, because we cannot combine any other. So when you use a live connection mode, you cannot mix any other type of file, and also the direct connection mode, import and other things will not work with that. It's kind of a standalone, which one live connection I'll show you, don't worry. Got it? Yeah. I just write it for the sake of, because evening time we'll be feeling a little bit tired, right? So these two tables where we have used the import connectivity mode. And for this one, I have used the dual mode. Dual is nothing but the hybrid or the mix of both dual. Sorry, it's nothing but the import as well as direct query. Depends on the context. It will work as an import mode, and then import is nothing but the data will cached in memory. See, what is import mode? The data will, whatever the table data you have loaded into your Power BI desktop, it will become part of your Power BI report, and also the data will get cached in memory. In your laptop memory, it will get cached, loaded. Okay. Similarly, the dimension location, because import mode we use. Whereas in the case of the product dimension, it is, we have used the storage as the dual. It is import is something like cached data, and also direct query mode. So whenever you want to establish a connection directly with your SQL Server database, then it will automatically get connected. Okay, so it's a hybrid of both import as well as direct query mode. And so since here, right, single solid dash, solid line, we can see that this is called your direct query mode. So import, direct query, and dual. These are the storage mode. And fourth one is live connection. Live connection, we cannot mix up with any other type of file. Simply you can, for example, Power BI Cloud, you have published your report. Once you import the report using Power BI datasets connector, that's it. You can work only with that file. You cannot mix any other file with that. So import, direct query mode, live connection, dual. Remember this. So can I convert a direct query connection mode of a table into a storage of dual? It is possible. And you can convert the direct query mode of a table into import mode. That is also possible. But in the case of import, once you imported the data, you cannot convert the storage of that file into a direct query mode. So that is one limitation. I just select and show you here. Look here, when I select the table, these two tables, we have used the import connectivity mode. And if you scroll down and see here, so you have advanced here. When you click on this, you can see that import to direct query and dual is not possible. Once you import it, that's all. You cannot change it to either direct query or dual mode. Whereas in the case of direct query mode, you can look here, you can change it to either import. From direct query to import possible, and then from direct query to dual is possible. So what about this one? Let's take a look at this one, dual. Okay, and if I see here, all these things are possible with dual. Okay, with the dual mode, if you have established, if you have chosen the storage mode as dual for a specific table, and later point in time, if you want to switch it to direct query mode, that is possible. Or if you want to switch back to import, that is also possible. Okay. So in general, direct query mode, you can come to import, whereas the import, you cannot convert it to your direct query mode. Okay. That is the thing that you need to remember. Very simple, isn't it? Okay. Now we have seen how to connect to SQL Server using import and direct connectivity mode. And also we have seen what exactly the storage mode or dual is all about. Anyhow, we'll discuss that later point in time in detail. Okay. Here I just say the one more example. Okay. For the time being, I just select import, and then here I just go here, and then where is that? My SQL Server. Here, let me open a file called open. File. I just open a file called stored procedure. Don't worry. SQL Server will take a deep dive after completion of the Power BI training program. Okay. And look here, this is what my stored procedure. It is, see, I have created a stored procedure. So what is a stored procedure? Why do we have to create a stored procedure? Stored procedure is somewhat like your function, stored function. So once this is also why we need to first of all create a stored procedure or stored function for the sake of reusability. For the sake of reusability, for the sake of simplicity. Supposing you want to do, prepare something, let's say you want to, on a festival day, you want to prepare jamun. Okay. So what you do is you don't have to buy everything, right? Separately, the raw material. So instead, what you do is the ready mix. Go to a shop, any German powder is available, they'll get. So it has all the necessary ingredients in it already mixed there. Reusable, right? You just go and buy it and then start preparing. No need to invent the wheel. Yes, Sundar Baba, excellent, excellent. No need to reinvent the wheel, correct. So here, write once, use it, as many times as you want it, wherever it is required. Yes, Sundar, right? So this is the one. So I have created a short, very simple short, because I don't want to overwhelm you with this complex business logic at the outset of this session itself. Hence, look at this syntax. Create all the blue colored or the reserved word, keyword. Okay. But apart from the blue colored one, the rest of the things you can use your name. So this is my stored position. Whatever name that you want, you can give. Sundar, if you want to give it, you can give it. But don't give your name or your spouse name or your other friend's name. Okay. You need to give some meaningful name. So this naming convention, everything will be given by your customer. Okay. There is a separate document called coding standards document. Okay. Once you get into a project, they will give you that one. If they don't give it, you have to ask them, can you give me the coding standard or naming convention document? So there, you look at it. So this is SP. Since it's a stored project, meaningfully, they have given something called SP underscore sales by date. And followed by the stored procedure syntax. Okay. Right. Next one is you need to declare the variable. What are the variables that you are going to use it? Followed by the, for variable declaration, you need to use as is a reserved word. Followed by the as your your business logic starts here. You are going to put your business logic in the form of a SQL query, or you will be using some table or view or something like that. So the begin and end is nothing but the body of your stored procedure. This is where you define the actual logic. In this case, what is the actual logic? You give me any date based on which I will be taking the subset of the data. For example, in this case, the sales fact table have, let's say, 25 million records are there. Or the sales fact table have 4 years of data in it, but I don't want to take all the 4 years of the data. I want to take the data which are the order date of the data should be more than 2000. For example, 2020, 21, 22, or 2019, 20, 21, 22. 4 years of data are there in your sales fact table. You don't want to use all the 4 years of data. Your manager does, no, I don't want to see 2019 and 20. For 21 and 22 alone, I want to see the sales performance. 21 and 22. So the order date column have all the 4 years of data in it. So what we are doing is on the right side of the order date, if the order date is greater than whatever the date that I give it. For example, my manager says, right, so the 2nd November 2021. Anything greater than 2nd November 2021, you take the data. So, so that means 3rd November 2021 to till date. Data only, I need to use it. This is a very simple logic. So what we did here, if we wanted to generalize this one, because if I specify the date here, what will happen? It all the time when you call the stored procedure, it will give you the data, or it will select the data, and then it will give you the data matching to this condition only. 20 anything greater than 2nd November 2021, right? So for that, you select all the data. Supposing if I wanted to change the date, I need to open this code and then I need to change it. In this case, hardly we have few lines of code. If I 100 lines of code, right? When you open the code and you make some changes, mistakenly while making the changes, if you put dot somewhere else, you will be breaking. End of the day, when you compile your source procedure, it will not get created, thrown error. So in that case, what we are trying to minimize or avoid making changes to the stored procedure once you create it and then deploy it in your production. Your stored procedure should be dynamic. So whatever the date that I give, that date should get replaced here. at date. That is the reason we are using a variable. So dynamically, you can pass the value. Look here, I create the stored procedure. Here, order date is greater than at date. So if you, how do I create the variable in SQL Server? So you need to, prefix the variable name as at. Here, my variable is date. You can give whatever name that you wanted. Here, I have used the naming of the date. The date variable prefixed with at. That means it's a variable. This is how we define a variable in SQL Server. Fine. So next what I do is I select everything. I will hit on the execute button. So the must be first statement in a query batch. Line 6 batch start. Okay, drop procedure. Let me do one thing. We'll go step by step. Could not find stored procedure. SC. Sorry. Here I did not select it correctly. Okay, cannot drop this procedure because it does not exist. Okay, fine. Next one is I just select from go and here, click the execute. So now my stored procedure got created. So I'm not getting any error here. So in this stored procedure, I've used this logic. So whatever the date that I give, based on that date, right, it should filter it. So whatever the date that I give it, it should select the data more than that date. Okay, from the table. Okay, and then next one is I want to now I create the stored procedure wherein I have implemented my required logic. Now I have to use it, isn't it? Just by creating the stored procedure is not sufficient. We have to use it. So how do I use this procedure? By calling the stored procedure, we can use it. So how do I call the stored procedure? We have a reserved word called exec, followed by that the stored procedure name. This is your stored procedure name, and followed by that. So what we are doing, we are passing a value to this date. So in that case, what will happen is this part. Okay, whatever the value that you passed it at the time of calling the stored procedure using execute right command, we are calling this stored procedure. So when you use an execute command, what will happen is it will invoke this function. So what it says is, hey, so now be prepared. So you need to take the value for this parameter date. Okay, for this parameter date, you need to use this value, and then you pass the value of the date, right? So to this body, and then return the data. Okay. So execute command instruct the SQL server. This procedure needs to be called. Creating the procedure is not sufficient. We have to use it, isn't it? So, okay, how do I use it? I want to execute the stored procedure. Exec followed by, this is a reserved word, okay. Whatever the name you have given stored procedure, you can give it. Followed by, leave some space, and then what it is, you are using the variable here. If you don't use variable, fine, but you are using a variable here. So you need to pass some value to this. So either you can pass, see, now what happened? The beauty is, since you have used the variable here, at date, the at date you mentioned here. So the advantage is it's very dynamic. If I change any other date, if you want to change it to any other date, simply you can call while calling the stored procedure, if you pass that value, this one will get copied here. Once this date get copied here, that date will be passed here, and then this query will select the data which is more than this date, this date. Understood? This one will get copied here. So if I want to, pass some other date, yes. For example, 3rd November 2021, anything above 3rd November 2021, related transactions, you can select it. I'm interested in only that. So in that case, you can just make a change here. Okay. For example, if you put this line here, instead of hard date, I don't want to use hard date. Simply I put the date here. What will happen? It will be like a static, right? So it will not become a dynamic. But when you use a variable, it will be dynamic. So you can pass, while executing stored procedure, what you can do is you can specify whatever the date that you want, you can do. So in that case, we are not opening the stored procedure, we are not making any changes. Instead, the command line, we are just passing the value to this variable or the parameter date in this case. That one will get copied to this one also, hence the query will work. So enough theory. What I am going to do is I just take this one, stored with this time. I'm not going to import any table. Okay. Instead, I'm going to call the stored procedure. In this case, what happened when it comes to Power BI desktop, you're not supposed to use the double quote. You need to use single quote for passing the value to this stored procedure. If I click on OK, now this the stored procedure is being executed. It is asking the username password. Okay, click on connect. Could not authenticate. Please try again. Okay, let me do one thing back. 8K BBDN3. Okay, some issue is there. Okay, let me just go and okay, here I did not specify SQL Express. This is the server name, right? Look here. If you go to the SSMS, SQL Management Studio, and click on connect and the database engine, this is what your SQL server name. Here I just mentioned only this one. I did not specify the full server name. You need to specify the entire server name. Okay. Okay. Now I hit the OK button. It will take some look here. It got called. Using my Power BI desktop, I have called the stored procedure which got created in my SQL Server. In that stored procedure, what logic that I used it? Select all the data that are more than 2nd November 2020 or so. Okay. If I hit load, got loaded. Look here, query 1, right? So this is what the name given. You can rename this one also. Okay. And here, this is another way of connecting to the SQL Server. Okay. The intro the SQL. Okay. The next question is there any way instead of using a stored procedure, can I use a query itself? Yes, right click on it, copy this, and then go back here. Then hit the home button, and kit data is here, the SQL Server. Desktop -8K BBDN3, and SQL Express is my server name. Sales. Yeah, you have an advanced options. You can expand it here. Here, what I do is I just put the query here, and then I just select the date and put it here. You need to use single quote, not double quote. Okay. In Power BI. Either you can call a stored procedure or you can fire a query. Okay, you can send a query from the advanced option of my Power BI desktop, and the query will be sent to your SQL Server, and then you select the data and put it in your show it in your Power BI desktop. So I'm going to hit the load button. So with this example, you are able to understand what are the 4 different ways that you can connect to SQL Server. One is the import mode, and the other one is direct query mode. And also we have seen how to call a stored procedure from Power BI desktop. Okay, and also how to execute a query from Power BI desktop to SQL Server. That is also we have seen it.